The marketplace was loud, filled with voices, smoke, and the heavy smell of burning oils. Merchants shouted prices, children cried for food, guards pushed people aside with their sharp weapons. In the middle of this chaos, one figure stood still. She was an alien woman, thin and trembling. Her skin was pale with hunger. Her eyes were heavy with sorrow. She held her child in her arms, small, weak, and barely breathing. His chest rose and fell slowly, like every breath could be his last. The mother looked at the crowd. Her lips shook, but her voice came out clear. "I will sell myself." The words cut through the noise like a knife. For a moment, even the merchants stopped shouting. Heads turned, whispers spread. Sell herself? Why would she do that? She must be desperate. Desperate, yes. She had no food, no coins, no family left to help. Her child's sickness was eating him alive. The healers demanded money, and she had none. The only thing she had was herself. So she stood tall, even with fear in her heart. She placed her child gently on a blanket near her feet. His tiny hand reached up as if to stop her, but he was too weak. His eyes were half closed. The mother kissed his forehead. "Forgive me, my son," she whispered. The crowd grew restless. Some laughed cruelly, some shook their heads. Others leaned closer with interest. One fat merchant licked his lips. "How much?" Another sneered. "She is thin, not worth much." But others saw her beauty hidden under dirt and pain. The mother's voice trembled. "I will sell myself for enough to save my child." Her words silenced the laughter. Even the cruel ones felt a sting of shame. She was not selling for greed, not for pleasure. She was selling to save a life. The marketplace master stepped forward, his golden staff in hand. His eyes were cold but curious. "Who will buy her?" he shouted. "Who will take this woman and pay her price?" Silence, then footsteps. From the shadows, a man walked into the circle. He did not look like the others. His clothes were strange, his eyes sharp and calm. He was not an alien, he was human. The crowd gasped. A human? What is he doing here? They never come to these places. The mother's heart pounded. Humans were rare in this part of the galaxy. Some said they were crueler than any alien. Others said they were too proud to mix with slaves. But here stood one, tall and strong, walking with steady steps. He looked at the mother, not with hunger, not with greed. His gaze was heavy, thoughtful, like he saw more than the crowd did. The marketplace master laughed. "You, a human? Do you wish to buy her?" The human said nothing. He reached into his coat and pulled out a pouch. Heavy coins spilled into the master's hand. The sound of metal rang through the silence. The master's eyes widened. "This is shit. More than enough." Gasps rippled through the crowd. No one paid that much for one starving alien woman. No one. The mother froze. She could not believe it. Why would a stranger, why would a human, give so much for her? The master grinned. "She is yours, human." The crowd roared with laughter and whispers. "A fool! He wasted his gold! He will regret this! Humans are strange creatures." The human ignored them. He stepped forward and did something that made the crowd fall silent again. He did not grab the woman roughly like a slave. He did not put a chain around her neck. Instead, he took off his cloak and gently placed it around her shoulders. The mother's breath caught. No one had treated her with kindness in years. Her eyes filled with tears. She whispered, Why are you doing this?" The human said only one thing. His voice was calm, steady. "Because no one should suffer to save their child." The mother's knees weakened. For a moment she almost fell, but his hand steadied her. Her child coughed on the blanket, weak but alive. The human bent down, lifted the boy with careful hands and wrapped him gently. The child opened his eyes just a little and stared at the stranger. The mother's heart raced. She had sold herself. She had given up everything. But what had she walked into? The crowd murmured again, but this time it was not laughter. It was fear. Fear of the human who had broken their rules. Fear of the unknown. The master shouted, "It is done. Take them and leave before the crowd grows angry." The human nodded. He guided the mother through the marketplace, the cloak still warm on her shoulders, the child still safe in his arms. The mother looked at him again. She wanted to ask, "What do you want from me?" But the words stuck in her throat. Instead, she walked in silence, her heart torn between fear and hope. For the first time in years, she felt the smallest spark inside her, a spark she thought was dead. Could it be trust? The crowd watched them vanish into the smoke. Whispers followed. Some called him a fool. Others called him dangerous. But the mother only knew one thing. Her sacrifice had led her into the hands of a human who was unlike anyone she had ever known. And that was how her story began. The walk out of the marketplace felt endless. Dust rose around their feet. The shouts and whispers of the crowd still echoed in the mother's ears. She could not forget their voices. A human bought her. A human wasted his gold. He will regret it. Her heart raced faster with every step. She looked at the stranger beside her, the human. His steps were calm, his face unreadable. The cloak he had placed around her shoulders still carried his warmth. In his arms, her child slept, breathing softly against his chest. The mother's thoughts spun in fear. Why is he carrying my child? Why did he pay so much? What does he really want from me? They turned down a narrow street. The noise of the market grew faint. Around them, walls of old stone rose high, too, air cracks filled with moss. The human stopped at a small door made of iron. He pushed it open, and for the first time, the mother saw inside. It was not a palace. It was not a dungeon. It was simple. A quiet shelter. A fire burned low in the corner. There was clean water in a basin, bread on the table, and a bed covered with blankets. The human stepped in and placed the child gently on the bed. Then he looked at the mother. His voice was steady, not cruel. Sit, eat, rest. The words struck her like lightning. Rest? Eat? She had expected chains. She had expected orders. Instead, he spoke like she was not property at all. Her body moved slowly, unsure if it was a trick. She sat on the edge of the chair. Her hands shook as she tore a piece of bread. She ate carefully, watching him the whole time. The human poured water into a cup and handed it to her. She hesitated before taking it. Their fingers touched for a brief moment, and she pulled away quickly. Why? She whispered, almost afraid of her own voice. Why would you do this? The human did not answer immediately. He crouched near the child, touching his forehead gently to check the fever. His eyes softened, almost like he had seen this before. Finally, he said, because once I could not save my own. The mother froze. His words carried pain, deep and old. She wanted to ask more, but fear chained her tongue. The human rose and turned to her. Your child needs medicine. I will bring it. Her heart jumped. She stood quickly. No, please, don't take him from me. The human shook his head. I will not take him. He stays here, safe. She searched his face. His eyes were calm but not cold, his voice firm but not harsh. Against her will, she felt her guard weaken. Still, doubt burned inside her. I don't understand. You bought me. You own me. The human's gaze hardened. No, I do not own you. He simply does. Stepped closer. His words were sharp now, like steel. I only paid so no one else would. The mother's breath caught. For a moment she forgot to blink. Not own, protect. She sat back down, her chest tight with confusion. Was this kindness or some trick? Hours passed in silence. The fire cracked softly. Her child slept peacefully, breathing deeper now. The mother's eyes kept moving between the child and the human. At last, the human returned with a small case. He opened it and carefully gave medicine to the boy. The mother leaned forward, her hands trembling. She expected him to force it, to act rough. But no, he was gentle. His hand supported the boy's head, his voice calm. The boy swallowed, coughed, then slowly relaxed. His breathing grew steadier. Color returned to his cheeks. Tears filled the mother's eyes. She covered her mouth to stop her sobs. For the first time in many days, her child looked less like a shadow of death and more like a boy alive. The human stood, his face unreadable. He will need more care, but he will live. The mother could not speak. Words stuck in her throat. Gratitude, fear, confusion. They all battled inside her. The human turned toward the window. Outside, faint voices rose, angry voices. The crowd from the marketplace had not forgotten. They will come, he said quietly. They will call me a fool. They may try to take you back. Her blood ran cold. She pulled her child close to her chest. Then why risk it? Why save us? He looked at her, his jaw tight. Because I am human, and humans do not stand by when a child is dying. The words hit her harder than any weapon. She had heard many things about humans, ruthless, greedy, dangerous. But this one spoke with a strange strength. That night, she could not sleep. She sat beside her child, listening to the human move quietly around the room. Every sound of the crowd outside made her flinch, but each time the human's steady presence calmed her. Her mind kept asking the same question over and over. What kind of buyer was this? What kind of man reached I? Skess his life for someone he did not know? When dawn broke, light spilled through the window. Her child stirred, opening his eyes with a faint smile. The mother held him tightly, tears running down her face. The human stood near the door, watching silently. And in that moment, the mother realized something terrifying. Her life had been sold away, yet she was freer in this stranger's home than she had ever been in her own world. The morning was quiet. Sunlight streamed through the cracks of the old shutters. The fire from last night had turned into soft, glowing embers. The mother sat on the edge of the bed, holding her child close. His small chest rose and fell with more strength than before. His skin was less pale, his lips less dry. For the first time in many nights, she dared to breathe without fear. The human was already awake. He moved around the room with silent steps, checking supplies, sharpening a blade, arranging food on the table. His movements were careful, like a man used to watching his back. The mother studied him secretly. He did not act like an owner. He did not order her to serve. He treated her and the boy as guests. And yet, she still felt chains in her heart, chains of fear. Her son stirred and opened his eyes. His voice was weak but steady. "Mother." She kissed his forehead quickly. "Shh, rest. You are safe." The boy's eyes moved slowly to the human. His voice was barely a whisper. "Who is he?" The mother hesitated. What could she say? That he was the man who bought her? That he was a stranger who could still destroy them? Her lips trembled. "He is the one who saved us." The boy blinked. His small hand reached out, pointing at the human. "He does not look cruel." The human turned then, hearing the child. His face softened, and for the first time a faint smile touched his lips. He came closer, crouching down near the bed. "You are strong," and he said to the boy. "Most would not have survived the fever." The boy looked at him, his eyes wide. "You gave me medicine?" The human nodded. "Yes." The boy swallowed, then whispered words that froze his mother's heart. "You are not here to buy us. You are here to save us." The mother's breath caught. She wanted to stop him. She wanted to tell him not to speak such foolish hope, but the words would not come. The human tilted his head, studying the boy. There was no laughter in his eyes, no mockery, only silence, heavy with meaning. At last, the mother pulled the boy close. "You don't understand," she whispered sharply. "We do not know his true reason." But the child shook his head weakly. "I know. I can feel it." The boy's words echoed in her chest like a secret bell. She tried to ignore them. She tried to bury them. But deep inside, something stirred. Something dangerous. Hope. The day passed slowly. The human left once to gather more food and returned without harm. Each time he stepped out, the mother's heart twisted with fear. She imagined soldiers dragging him away or enemies following him back. But each time he returned calmly, as if the world outside did not scare him at all. That evening, the boy whispered again, his voice soft but firm. "Mother, he lost someone. I can see it in his eyes." She looked at her son in shock. "What do you mean?" The boy's gaze drifted toward the human who was sitting near the fire, his face lost in the flames. "He knows pain. That is why he helped us." The mother turned to the fire as well. The human's eyes were hard, but behind them, shadows moved, a wound, hidden but deep. Could her son be right? She shook her head. "Do not dream, child. He is human. We are not. He has no reason to care." But her words felt hollow, even to her. That night, when the boy finally slept, the mother gathered her courage. She walked slowly to where the human sat. The flames lit half his face in gold, leaving the other half in shadow. She spoke softly. "My son says you saved us because you know pain. Is it true?" The human did not look at her. He poked the fire with a stick, watching the sparks rise. For a long time he was silent. Then, in a low voice, he said, "Once I had a family, a wife, a daughter. The war took them both." The mother froze. Her heart ached with a pain that was not hers. She whispered, "I am sorry." The human finally looked at her. His eyes were cold steel, but the sorrow inside them burned hotter than fire. "I could not save them, but I can save him." He glanced toward the sleeping boy. The mother felt her knees weaken. She wanted to thank him, but the words stuck. Gratitude warred with fear. Before she could speak, a loud sound broke the silence. A rock hit the wall outside, then another. Voices rose in anger. The crowd had returned. "They're here," the human said calmly, standing. He reached for his weapon and pulled his cloak around his shoulders. The mother clutched her child, terror rising in her chest. "They will take us back. They will kill him." The human turned, his eyes sharp as blades. "Not while I stand." The mother's heart thudded wildly. Her son's words rang again in her ears. "He is not here to buy us. He is here to save us." She looked at the human, and for the first time, believed it might be true. The night outside was restless. Angry voices drifted through the streets like smoke. The crowd from the marketplace had not forgotten. Some called for punishment. Others demanded the woman be returned. Rocks clattered against the walls. Inside, the mother held her child tightly, her body trembling. The human stood at the window, calm but watchful. His hand rested near his weapon, ready if the door broke open. But no one came inside. After some time, the voices faded. The mob grew tired and left. Silence returned, heavy and uneasy. The mother's heart was still racing when she whispered, "They will not stop. Tomorrow, they will come again, and the day after that." The human nodded once. "I know." She looked at him, fear sharp in her voice. "Then why fight them? You could have walked away. You could have left us to die. Why risk yourself?" The human turned slowly. The firelight painted shadows across his face. For a moment, he said nothing. Then his voice came low and rough. "Because I know what it means to lose everything." Her breath caught, those words again. Her son had spoken of it, and now the human himself confirmed it. The mother whispered almost against her will, "You lost? Your family?" His jaw tightened. His eyes dropped to the floor, but his voice carried a weight that silenced the room. "I had a wife. I had a little girl. The war came. I fought to save them, but..." He stopped, the words choking in his throat. His fists clenched. "I failed." The mother stared at him. His pain was raw, too heavy to be a lie. In his silence, she heard the echo of her own fear of losing her child. Slowly she said, "Now you see my fear. My child is all I have left." For the first time, their eyes met and did not turn away. Sorrow met sorrow. Brokenness met brokenness. In that silent exchange, she felt a strange connection. Two lives scarred by loss, yet tied by one fragile thread of hope. But outside, the whispers grew stronger. The city was alive with gossip. A human bought an alien woman. He shields her like family. He pays gold for slaves and frees them. The rumors spread like fire. Some laughed at him, others feared him. A few, more dangerous, began to see him as a threat. The mother heard the whispers even when she walked quickly through the alleys with him. She kept her hood low, her child hidden under her cloak. But she felt the eyes of strangers. Their stares were sharp, filled with questions. One evening, when they returned from a healer's shop, two alien men blocked their path. Their voices dripped with mockery. "Strange human," one sneered. "Why waste your gold on trash?" The other laughed. "Perhaps he likes her. Perhaps he plot." As family with her child. The mother froze, pulling her son closer. Her heart thudded. The human's face stayed calm, his eyes like stone. "Move," he said simply. The men smirked. "Or what? You will fight us? This is not your world, human. You have no place here." For a long moment, the air grew tense. Then the human stepped forward. His presence was sharp, his gaze unshaken. The men faltered, taking a step back. Something in his eyes made their laughter die. Without another word, they moved aside. The mother walked quickly, her breath trembling. When they were safe, she whispered, "They hate you. They will not stop." The human's voice was steady. "Let them whisper. Let them hate. What matters is the child lives." Her heart twisted. His words were firm, but she saw the shadow in his face. He carried his past like a blade inside his chest, and yet he still chose to protect. That night, when the child slept, the mother dared to ask again, "Why me? Why my child? There are many who suffer. Why did you choose us?" The human looked at the fire, his voice low. "Because when I saw you in the market, I saw her." The mother frowned. "Her?" "My wife," he said. His eyes shone in the firelight, far away in memory. "She stood once like you did, defiant, broken, but unyielding. I could not save her, but I could save you." The mother's chest ached. She wanted to speak, but no words came. She only sat in silence, her eyes burning with tears. In the days that followed, the whispers of the city grew into rumors of danger. Some said the human planned rebellion. Others said he gathered slaves to build an army. None of it was true, but truth mattered little in a world ruled by suspicion. The mother knew the storm was coming. The human's choice to protect them had made enemies, enemies with power, enemies who would not forget. But when she looked at her child, alive, breathing, smiling faintly for the first time, she also knew one thing: every risk was worth it. And when she looked at the human, sitting quietly near the fire, she felt the faint stir of something she had thought impossible: trust. The days that followed were quiet, yet heavy with tension. Outside, the city whispered like a restless storm. Inside the small home, life began to change. The child grew stronger with each passing sunrise. His cough faded, his cheeks filled with color, and laughter returned to his lips. The sound of it was strange at first, like a forgotten song, but it soon filled the room with warmth. The mother watched every change with tears hidden behind her smile. Each time her child laughed, her heart loosened from the chains of fear, but each time, she also felt something deeper: confusion. This was possible only because of the human. He cooked meals for them. He brought medicine. He sat by the fire at night and told stories from faraway worlds. At first, the mother only listened in silence, her hands clutching her child, but slowly, against her will, she began to lean closer. One night, the boy asked, "Tell me about the stars." The human smiled faintly. "The stars are endless, brighter than all the fires of this city. Each one is a world, waiting for someone brave enough to reach it." The boy's eyes shone. "Can I see them one day?" The human placed his hand gently on the boy's shoulder. "Yes, you must grow strong, then you can see all the stars." The mother listened, her throat tight. She had promised her child nothing but survival, yet this man spoke of dreams. The boy whispered, "You sound like my father." The mother froze. The words struck deep. Her husband was gone, lost long ago in raids. She had raised her son alone, carrying grief in silence. To hear her child say such words felt like betrayal and hope all at once. That night when her son slept, she faced the human. Her voice was sharp, though her heart was trembling. "Do not speak like that. Do not fill his head with dreams. He needs safety, not stars." The human looked at her calmly. "Safety is not enough. A child needs hope." She turned away, her chest burning. Hope had always been dangerous. Hope was a knife. It could cut as deeply as it could heal. Still, she could not deny the truth in his voice. The days stretched on. She began to see him differently. His hands were strong but gentle. His voice was firm but never cruel. He carried his pain quietly, yet he gave freely of his strength. Sometimes she caught herself watching him. She hated herself for it. She reminded herself, "You are his purchase, nothing more." And yet, each time he smiled at her child, her heart betrayed her. One afternoon, as the child played with small wooden figures the human had carved, the mother whispered, "Why do you do this? You say you do not own us, but you give so much. What do you want from me?" The human's gaze was steady. "Nothing." She frowned. "No one gives without wanting something." His eyes darkened with memory. "I once wanted everything. I wanted my family safe. I wanted peace. But war took it all. Now I want nothing, except to make sure you do not suffer as I did." Her breath caught. His words carried no greed, no hunger, only pain. That night, as they ate together, she realized something. He never sat above them. He sat beside them. He did not speak of her as property. He spoke of her as if she still had worth. The bond between them grew, unspoken but real. The boy trusted him openly now, running to him with every laugh, every question. The mother fought harder to resist, but her walls began to crack. And yet, danger never left. The whispers outside grew sharper. Merchants mocked, strangers spat when they passed. Guards watched the humans home with suspicion. One evening, as the mother fetched water, a woman hissed in her ear, "Be careful. Men like him always take what they want in the end." The words cut her, planting new fear. But when she returned home, she found the human teaching her son to write simple words, his patience endless. The boy's laughter rang again, and the mother thought perhaps the whispers were lies, born of envy. Still, she could not forget the threat. Late one night, when the city slept, she sat awake by the fire. The human was sharpening his blade. She watched him quietly before speaking. "You risk yourself for us," she said softly. "Every day, the people hate you more. Why continue?" He paused, then set the blade aside. His voice was steady, filled with iron and sorrow. "Because once, no one stood for me. No one came when I begged for help. I will not let that story repeat for you." Her eyes filled with tears. She turned away quickly, hiding them. In that moment, she realized something terrifying. She was no longer afraid of him. She was afraid of losing him. The bond had grown, silent but powerful. It tied them together in ways she could not deny. And somewhere deep inside, she began to wonder if this man, this human, was no longer just a buyer, but something far greater. The days of peace did not last. Whispers turned into eyes, and eyes turned into footsteps that followed. The mother felt it first. When she walked the streets with her hood low, she sensed the weight of stares. Some were mocking, some hateful, some sharp with greed. She hurried her steps, clutching her child's hand, but she knew danger was moving closer. The human felt it too. His eyes were always searching the corners, his hand never far from his blade. At night, he sat by the window in silence, watching the shadows outside. The mother wanted to believe their small home was safe, but she saw the way his jaw tightened, the way his body tensed at every sound. He knew better. The storm came one evening. A heavy knock rattled the door. The mother froze, clutching her child. The human stood slowly, motioning her to stay silent. He opened the door a crack. Outside stood 3 alien lords, wealthy, cruel, their robes lined with gold thread. Behind them, armed guards waited, their spears glinting in the torchlight. The tallest lord smiled thinly. "Human, you have broken the rules of trade." The human's voice was calm. "I paid the price." The lord's smile widened. "You paid too much. That makes others suspicious. Perhaps you plan rebellion. Perhaps you plan to buy slaves and free them. Dangerous ideas." The mother's chest tightened. She held her son closer, her heart pounding. The lord's eyes flicked toward her. "Return the woman. Return the child. Or suffer the law of this city." For a long moment, silence hung heavy. The torches hissed in the night air. The human's face was unreadable. Then slowly he said, "No." The guards shifted, their hands tightening on weapons. The lord's smile vanished. "You dare defy us?" The human stepped fully into the doorway, his presence sharp as a blade. His voice cut the night. "I will not give them to you. Not now. Not ever." The mother's breath caught. She expected fear. Instead, she saw steel in his eyes. The lords glared. "You protect them as family?" The human's reply came like thunder. "Yes." The lord spat on the ground. "Then you have chosen death. We will return." They turned and left, their guards marching behind them. The sound of their boots echoed long after they were gone. The mother rushed forward, panic in her voice. "You have doomed us. They will kill you. They will kill us all." The human's eyes softened as he looked at her. They were going to try anyway. Better I stand against them than bow. Her heart shook. She wanted to argue, but deep inside she knew he was right. The lords would never forgive his defiance. That night the house was heavy with silence. The child slept, unaware of the storm. The mother sat near the fire, tears sliding down her cheeks. Finally she whispered, "Why do you do this? Why fight for us? You could have left long ago." The human's voice was steady, though sorrow shadowed his face. "Because I lost my family once. I will not lose another." The words pierced her heart. She turned away, afraid of what she felt. The next day the city was restless. Whispers spread faster than fire. The human defied the lords. He called an alien child his family. He has gone mad. Merchants closed their stalls when he walked by. Guards followed from a distance. Children pointed, their parents pulling them away. The mother kept her hood low, her son close, her fear growing with every step. That evening, the human returned with supplies. His face was calm, but his clothes carried dust and scratches. She asked no questions. She was too afraid of the answers. But that night, as the child slept, she gathered her courage. "They will kill you," she whispered. "You cannot fight them all." The human looked at her, his eyes unshaken. "If I fall standing, not kneeling." Tears filled her eyes. "And what of us? What of my son?" He stepped closer, his voice fierce. "Then I will fight harder, because he deserves life, and so do you." Her heart broke and healed at the same time. She wanted to tell him to stop, to run, to save himself. But she also wanted to believe him. That night she could not sleep. She lay awake, staring at the fire. Her mind screamed in fear, but her heart whispered something dangerous. This man was no longer just a stranger, no longer just the human who bought her. He had become something else. Protector, shield, hope. But outside, the lords gathered. Their anger grew, their plans sharpened like knives. The threat was no longer whispers. It was real, and it was coming for them. The night was heavy with silence, but it was not peace. The mother felt it in her chest, sharp and cold, like the pause before a storm. The human sat near the door, sharpening his blade. His movements were calm, but his eyes were fire. The child slept, his small hands curled near his face. The mother stroked his hair, trying to hide her fear. She knew the truth, Nin. How the lords would return, and this time they would not come with words, they would come with soldiers, with death. Her whisper broke the silence. You cannot fight them all. The human did not look at her. I must. Her voice shook. Why? Why risk your life for us? At last he lifted his gaze, his eyes burned with sorrow and strength. Because I lost my family once. I will not lose another. Her breath caught. He had said those words before, but now, in this moment, they carried more than promise. They carried love. Before she could answer, the night erupted. A crash shook the walls. The door splintered under the weight of soldiers' boots. Torches lit the dark. Spears gleamed in the firelight. The alien lords stood behind them, their cruel smiles sharp as blades. There he is, one hissed, the foolish human, protecting slaves as family. The human stood tall, blade in hand. His voice thundered across the room. They are not slaves. They are mine to protect. The lords sneered. Then you die with them. The soldiers rushed forward. The mother screamed, clutching her child, but her eyes never left the human. He moved like fire itself, swift, fierce, unyielding. His blade clashed against steel, sparks flying in the dark. He fought not with greed, not with rage, but with something deeper. Every strike was for the child. Every step was for the mother. The soldiers fell, one after another, but more poured in. The small home shook with violence. The mother's heart pounded. She wanted to run, but her legs would not move. She could only watch, the man who had bought her, now fighting as if he had always belonged to her. Blood streaked his arm, but he did not falter. His voice rang out like a war drum. No one takes them from me. The Lord's smiles faded. For the first time, fear flickered in their eyes. The human's defiance was no act. It was truth, carved in to every strike of his blade. Finally, silence fell. The floor was littered with broken spears and fallen soldiers. Smoke from torches curled against the walls. The human stood, chest heaving, his blade dripping. The lords glared. One spat on the ground. This is not the end. You will never be safe. You cannot fight us all. The human raised his blade again, his voice steady. Then I will keep fighting, until my last breath. The lords hesitated. They saw it now, the fire in his eyes, the unbreakable will. He would never kneel. He would never surrender. With curses on their lips, they retreated into the night, dragging their wounded soldiers. The sound of their footsteps faded into the dark. The mother fell to her knees, her child still clutched to her chest. Tears poured down her face. She looked at the human, bleeding, exhausted, but still standing. Slowly, she rose and stepped toward him. Her hands trembled as she reached out. Why? She whispered. Why would you give everything for us? He dropped his blade. His eyes softened, and for the first time, his voice cracked with emotion. Because you were never mine to own. You were mine to love. Her heart shattered and healed all at once. The words pierced deeper than any wound. She pressed her forehead against his chest, sobbing. For years, she had lived in fear, in hunger, in chains unseen. But in this moment, she felt something she had thought forever lost. Home. Her child stirred, opening his eyes. He saw them together, saw the tears, saw the man who had fought for him. His small voice whispered, Are we safe now? The human knelt, pulling both mother and child into his arms. His voice was quiet but firm. As long as I live, yes. The mother wept softly, her tears falling onto his cloak. She had sold herself once to save her child. She had given everything, but in return, she had been given something far greater. Not chains, not ownership. Love. Outside, the city whispered again. Some called him a fool, others called him dangerous, but none could deny what they had seen. Embo, one human standing against lords, soldiers, and hatred because of love. And inside the small home, lit by the dying fire, a new family was born. Not of blood, not of bargain, but of choice. The mother looked at him through her tears, her voice steady now. You saved us. But more than that, you gave us back our hearts. The human smiled faintly, his eyes tired but shining. No, you saved me. And as the first light of dawn broke across the sky, their story ended, not in chains, not in despair, but in the one thing stronger than fear, stronger than death, stronger than war. Love instead,